All right, welcome back everyone. Now, as we get ready to dive a bit deeper into advertising, this next section will show you how, with an effective PPC strategy, advertising can be one of the largest traffic drivers to your product listings. Presenting this topic is the co-founder and CEO of Downstream, the leading Amazon advertising and analytics software company that helps brands measure, manage, and optimize advertising campaigns with best-in-class machine learning automation and insights. He has led teams internally at Amazon and on the agency side, and his understanding of Amazon and its unique demands is truly one of a kind. The world's largest consumer brands have sought out his ability to decode the confounding black box that Amazon represents, and hundreds more use Downstream's technology to drive share on the platform. Please welcome our next speaker, Connor Folley.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Hi there. My name's Connor Folley, Downstream co-founder and CEO. Downstream was recently acquired by Jungle Scout, where I am now a vice president. And so today I wanted to take you through understanding how Amazon advertising and Amazon search works. First, I want to start off with Amazon search and PPC, just kind of an introduction and sort of overview here. So to understand Amazon PPC, we really need to first understand Amazon search. Search is the primary way that customers find products on Amazon's site. And that's, of course, very different than a traditional browse experience within a physical retail environment. Being that search is the primary way that customers find product on Amazon, it's imperative that search provides the Amazon customer the optimal customer experience. To accomplish this, Amazon is really focused on ensuring that it is easy for customers to find the products they are looking for and that Amazon search really works well. 70% of shoppers don't click past the first page on Amazon. In fact, 64% of clicks are on the first 3 products in search. And then, of course, Amazon receives more product search than all search engines combined. So it's just a massive amount of search traffic and a massive amount of the clicks that are going to those first 3 products within search. So, like I said earlier, first and foremost, Amazon is still a retail platform, and optimal search performance really requires that you approach this as a holistic exercise. So, in contrast to Google, where users come and ask Google questions, on Amazon, customers come and they search on product attributes. So on Google, the top 5 search terms related to dogs: dog, dogs, Rottweiler, dog breeds, and Doge, as in Dogecoin. So for the most part, these are search terms related to research. Somebody's looking to have a question answered or apparently looking to buy some crypto. Whereas on Amazon, the top 5 search terms are related to dogs: dog bed, dog costume, dog food, dog toys, dog crate. Very clearly a shopping site. The search behavior is very, very different. And were you to try to just port your Google search and paid search program over to Amazon, it's really going to be a losing strategy because the customer behavior, the user behavior is so much different. On Amazon, the shoppers is much further down the funnel and they are ready to buy. It's a very high intent activity, and you see that in the way that they query. So now let's talk about the Amazon SERP, SERP, meaning search engines results page. So we know now that search behavior on Amazon is very different from a traditional search engine like Google, but the way that search results are rendered on Amazon is also very different because Amazon attempts to mitigate a poor customer experience rather than just surfacing the most relevant search results. Amazon's search results page features left navigation refinements that provide considerable utility in filtering prices, filtering to prime products, specific brands, highly reviewed products, and thus receives a tremendous amount of use compared to these kind of refinement capabilities on a traditional search engine. And so this behavior further encourages a unique dynamic on Amazon, which is the heavy concentration of search traffic into what we call the head search terms. And what I mean by that is so rather than search for, like, let's say I'm looking for ski gloves, and I could go 4-star prime Dakine black ski gloves under $150, right? A user can simply just search ski gloves and then slowly refine their search results using the dynamic left nav refinements, thus driving more search volume into the search term ski gloves. You think of a term like toilet paper. You're looking for toilet paper on Amazon, you just search toilet paper. And that's why you see so much of the search activity on Amazon really concentrated into a few head keywords, and then this kind of long tail of keywords that sort of runs on forever. So to win in Amazon search, it's really critical that your supply chain be optimized. And if you have a team that's managing your supply chain, it's also critical that they're aligned and engaged. Because another really unique factor to search on Amazon is that your operational metrics now become your marketing metrics, right? Because you don't want to be pointing to a product detail page if that product is out of stock, and in fact your product is likely going to be search suppressed, and it's certainly not going to serve in sponsored products. So all of this operational efficiency becomes absolutely critical to your product being ranked highly in search and having a really strong performance within Amazon PPC. If you can't get reliable inventory and short lead times and a willingness to handle what are often underwhelming initial orders for products, you're really going to have a very challenging time growing your business on Amazon. All right, so now let's talk about strategies that you're going to want to figure out before you start advertising or investing in Amazon PPC. So first off, we want to make sure that we are retail ready. And what does retail ready mean? So with retail ready, it's a matter of ensuring that your ASINs are ready to advertise and ready to sell, and that you are going to get the most efficiency possible out of those products through Amazon PPC, so that your ad spend is as efficient as possible. So these factors include pricing. Maybe you want to schedule a coupon or do a deal, but you need to make sure that your pricing is compelling, competitive, and going to convert. Inventory. Do you have enough inventory on Amazon to be advertising that particular product? Obviously, we don't want to just run out of stock, because as I'll discuss later on, that's really a value destructive event. Are you winning the buy box? Of course, that's critical for you to be able to drive any conversions to your product. How many positive reviews do you have on Amazon? Is the content clear, accurate, and compelling? So of course you want to have a strong hero image, and you want that image to be doing as much as possible for you in terms of extolling the features and benefits of your product. Then there is what we call B+ images. I think most of us are familiar with A+ images, but what often gets overlooked are all of your alternate images that are right there behind your hero image. So much energy is invested in the A+ content, but these other images are free. And they're actually much more critical, especially in markets like India, where it's really dominated by mobile shopping, and customers are just scrolling across those images. So you want to be doing as much of the feature and benefit narrative here, rather than just having like alternate views of the product or lifestyle images. And then A+ content. Of course, this brings down the barrier of sale, allowing you to get into more detail about the product. And then check your product titles, descriptions, your bullets, provide unique, descriptive, customer-friendly information on the product that encourages consumers to spend more time on the product detail page. Now let's talk about some of the other things that we want to make sure that we complete before we kick off our Amazon PPC. Now we want to determine a budget that we are looking to spend. I don't like the idea of shooting from the hip and just kind of seeing how much we can spend at a certain ACOS or ROAS threshold. I think you need to do the upfront work to identify what is an adequate amount of ad dollars based on the size of your overall Amazon business. And then based on your goals, allocate that across categories and ASINs. So to that end, we really need to make sure that we also are identifying exactly what our goals are. And these don't have to be the same goals across our entire catalog. We can certainly have different goals for different categories of product. Let's talk about these different PPC sort of objectives and goals. So objective one, maximizing sales at a particular ACOS or ROAS. This is really about building out a sustainable PPC program where you're highly profitable with every transaction. So generally, you're going to be coming in with relatively low bids and budgets and beginning to kind of push up to see at what point the elasticity of that ACOS or ROAS begins to run out, and you start to hit that upper bound that yields a palatable ROI for you. When we're talking about the types of campaigns that you're going to want to use to accomplish that objective, if you have access to sponsored brands, this would be the first place to start because oftentimes it's the lowest ACOS and highest ROAS. But as I've said previously about sponsored brands, the inventory here, meaning the amount of clicks that are available to buy, is relatively limited because there just aren't a lot of sponsored brand units served on a page compared to sponsored products. So you will ultimately begin to get into more of the sponsored products inventory as you look to spend more and more dollars there. In terms of the keywords that you're going to be looking to bid on to achieve a certain ACOS or ROAS threshold, obviously your branded terms, if you have branded terms, are going to yield the best ACOS or ROAS for you. But again, this is really low incrementality, meaning it's less likely that you're capturing a new customer. For example, if someone came in and they're searching for an Oral-B 5000 toothbrush, there's a high likelihood that that is what they were going to buy. So if you then spend to get that click via Amazon PPC, was that really the best investment of your advertising dollar? Was it truly an incremental sale? Or was that customer going to buy that toothbrush anyways and you just threw an ad in front of them? Be wary when coming at Amazon PPC with an ACOS or ROAS goal because you need to factor in incrementality and whether or not that is truly the best investment of your PPC dollar. With this objective in mind, the most important metrics to track, of course, ACOS and ROAS, because that's your North Star. You want to know your profitability thresholds for each product, because oftentimes that's what's guiding that ACOS or ROAS consideration. And then you want to segment your keywords and campaigns by branded, non-branded, and competitive conquest. Have your campaigns built out in such a way that it's very clear where those dollars are going in terms of those keyword types so that you can adjust accordingly. Let's talk about objective 2, which I refer to as spinning up the flywheel. This is where you have a new product and you're looking to drive as much sales as possible and really begin to get some velocity behind a new ASIN or a new group of ASINs in your catalog. So I think something that's often underappreciated are all of the downstream benefits of a big Amazon PPC investment and sort of how the Amazon flywheel is able to pick up that inertia and start surfacing your products to more and more shoppers beyond the typical places that you find them. And so what I mean by that is we're all familiar with the bestseller ranking or the BSR page. Now, BSR, it's part of what's called the Zeitgeist engine. And within the Zeitgeist engine, you've got bestsellers, you've got movers and shakers, you've got new releases, and a few other different merchandising engines across Amazon. These engines surface in a variety of different places, including email, affiliate sites, different shovelers across Amazon, social. So at the end of the day, if you are able to begin to drive a lot of impressions to your products and a lot of consumer interaction via clicks and conversions, this sort of halo effect that your product receives is now going to mean that it is surfacing in a variety of different places at a much higher frequency and overall giving your product much more reach. And so it's important to keep in mind that your ACOS or ROAS number does not necessarily contain all of the value and goodness that you are getting behind your PPC investment. So if our objective is to really spin up the flywheel, what I'm going to be looking for are the keywords that are going to give me the most reach and the ad units that are going to give me the most reach. I'm really going to be more focused on driving clicks and impressions for my products. And now, one of the less frequently capitalized on ad units is sponsored display, because you look at your performance with this product and generally the ACOS or the ROAS is less appealing, but it does offer a tremendous amount of reach because you are able to put it on all of these product detail pages that get a ton of traffic. And so there is an opportunity when you have a new product to leverage this unit at scale to drive a lot of impressions to your product. Additionally, sponsored products, especially auto-sponsored products, pick up a large volume of detail page inventory as well. Now, you may see this detail page inventory, and it's generally below the fold. It's a shoveler that you can scroll through and has a variety of different sponsored products listing in it. Does not look like necessarily the most appealing ad unit. You look at this on the detail page and I think, who actually converts on this thing? Well, it's actually a great value because Amazon discounts those clicks. They have a team of economists within Amazon advertising who determine how much these clicks cost. And it's a very efficient investment. So by putting ad dollars into those sponsored product auto campaigns, you get quite a bit of reach through those PDP shovelers. So what metrics are we going to be most focused on? Again, clicks, impressions, less so focused on our ACOS or ROAS. This is really about driving a lot of customer engagement with your ad units to be able to sort of spin up that Amazon flywheel in a new product. Okay, so objective 3. This is really about when we might want to be approaching PPC from a totally different mindset. Where we're really focusing on growing brand awareness for a new product or new product category or new brand. And in this instance, it's typically going to be about a really heavy investment into sponsored brands and driving to specific brand pages. I've even gone so far to create specific Amazon stores that are just featuring a new product, of which there might just be a single ASIN or maybe a few variations on a single ASIN, providing you this Amazon store experience that's heavily branded, going through all the features and benefits of the product. Also, this is an opportunity where you might be investing more with sponsored display, on promoting the product on ASIN product detail pages that are adjacent or competitive. So getting kind of relevant reach or competitive reach. So, for example, if you're launching a women's razor, maybe you're promoting it on shave cream product detail pages, maybe product detail pages for swimwear, to reach those sort of adjacent shoppers who might be in market for products that are sort of related to that. Again, in this instance, you're going to be really impression and click focus. And if you're a first-party vendor, you're trying to drive purchase orders. So you're really focused on those detail page impressions that send demand signals back to Amazon. All right, so now let's talk about developing your Amazon PPC presence and really getting started with your campaigns. So we talked about the first things that we want to do is really have a plan and prepare. So we went through goals, a retail readiness checklist, developing a budget, and then it comes down to research and really structuring your campaigns and how you're going to go about this in a very strategic way. So keyword research. The best resource for this is brand analytics, search term reports. And this is the most valuable resource for finding those relevant Amazon search terms. And you can do this through a variety of different kind of research methodologies. In the search term report, Amazon provides the terms and then the top 3 ASINs that are converting on those terms. I like to find ASINs that I see that are converting in that same set of 3 alongside my ASINs, and then see the other search terms that those products are also converting on. Identifying these Amazon head search terms is critical. It's really important to understand that in going through this exercise. Because in general, you're going to have like 3 search terms that are going to drive the lion's share of the volume in most categories. And so it's really important that you identify what those keywords are and not spend as much energy identifying all the keywords down into the tail. And so I'll talk about some of the kind of tactical ways to go about that a little bit later on. And then auto campaigns and of course using software tools like Downstream can allow you to start harvesting relevant keywords. Auto campaigns are a great resource for this. They're going to go out and test certain keywords, and you can then download those reports and go through them to identify which ones have a lot of volume behind them and meet your objectives, or you can use technology like Downstream that can do this automatically. You can then begin to really do keyword research at scale using those auto campaigns. So then next step in kind of the setup and build out is creating a taxonomy for your products and your keywords. So this typically takes the form of a big Excel spreadsheet where I want to map out my product categories, my subcategories, and then taxonomize my ASINs within that. So what I mean by that is, again, I'm a razor manufacturer. I've got men's razors, women's razors, disposable razors. I've got shave cream. I want to make sure that I'm assorting all of my ASINs within these categories and subcategories, because that's also how I'm going to go about assigning relevant keywords and negative keywords. You're going to want to develop a naming convention for your campaigns, which includes the unit type, the keyword type, brand, category, subcategory, ASIN, and in some instances, even the search term. So for example, it might look like SP-NB-Acme brand-electric toothbrush-kids, the ASIN, and in some instances, you'd have like electric toothbrush in there as well if it's a single keyword campaign. So SP, sponsored products, NB, non-branded, then of course your brand, category, subcategory, ASIN, and then term. And then you're going to organize your ASINs or taxonomize them all within this map. Next, you're going to organize your keywords within this by non-branded, branded, and competitive conquest. Then map your negatives using this same sort of structure. We always want to be creating single ASIN campaigns. this provides a host of benefits, not the least of which is that you're going to get greater share of voice. And you're also going to have much better analytical capabilities because you'll be able to associate performance directly back to a single ASIN rather than wonder which of those 10 ASINs in there was causing me the headaches. And for big head keywords, like for example, electric toothbrush, I always recommend that you use single keyword campaigns for those so that you can just really focus. Because, especially if you're a big advertiser, these keywords can easily take up 70-80% of your budget at times. And so it justifies having a single keyword campaign so you can just really focus on them. A few quick rules of thumb. We want to have at least one sponsored brand campaign for every brand, but more often than not, you want to have this by non-branded, branded, competitive conquest. One sponsored product campaign for every ASIN at least. Generally, I would recommend doing more, but make sure you're making products for every one of your ASINs. You want to have manual campaigns for your top 3 to 5 keywords. You want to have auto campaigns for every ASIN to pick up that kind of long tail. Now, these don't have to have huge budgets or big bids, but they're very efficient at sweeping up a lot of reach in the tail. They pick up a lot of those product detail page shoveler inventory. So why not have them running? You can control them with sensible budgets and bids, but they're a great little product. With that, PPC on Amazon is really a reach game. You want to gain as many of those product detail page shoveler face outs as possible, and you can do that really efficiently with those sponsored product auto campaigns. And then you can harvest all those tail keywords out of there rather than going and doing the laborious manual work of getting all these insignificant keywords that aren't going to drive a tremendous amount of volume. You want to make sure that you have sufficient budgets to last all day, or you invest in some sort of day parting technology. So what do I mean by that? So every PPC budget on Amazon resets at midnight Seattle time. And so all of the competitors are starting with a fresh budget right in the morning. So that is when the bids are the highest because it's a second price auction. Everybody's budgets are refreshed. CPCs are going to be the highest the first minute of the day. And then throughout the day, your competitors' budgets are expiring. They are leaving the field of battle, and the CPCs then begin to degrade throughout the course of the day. In fact, I have heard that on average, the average sponsored product campaign on Amazon, the average budget expires at 9:30 a.m. each day. So if you are only live and have budget for those first hours of the day, you're buying the most expensive clicks out there. So you would be much better off using day parting technology and taking advantage of the hours of the day later into the evening when those bids are going to be significantly lower. You're also going to be exposing your brand to conquesting if that's a concern for you, because you're not going to be there to protect your branded terms. We do offer other technologies that will allow you to spread your budget throughout the day if you do not have sufficient budget to last all day. I did say earlier about identifying the head keywords and focusing. You want to leverage exact match to do this, eliminate broad bids and focus on a few key exact terms that matter. There's a really high volume of broad targeting on Amazon that generates a high degree of unintended competition. There's also a high degree of robot traffic on Amazon. So you want to try to eliminate as many of those broad bids as possible and try to get pretty targeted in what you do. I'd say also you want to beware of some of these tail keywords. Because if you think about robot traffic across Amazon being kind of evenly distributed across all keywords, if 10% of all the traffic is robot traffic and you're in one of these tail keywords that gets less search, you are going to be paying for a higher proportion of bot traffic than you would be with a head keyword. Some efficiency best practices here. So you want to promote all of your assortment. So create single ASIN sponsored product auto campaigns with low bids. Avoid paying for branded keywords if at all possible with these auto campaigns by not having super high bids. When you jack up your bids on auto campaigns, you generally end up picking up a lot of your own branded terms. But this is going to give you the opportunity to gain more of those product detail page shovelers, more harvesting of new keywords, and be able to really efficiently attack the tail. An interesting statistic that I heard was that the top 3 keywords on Amazon for light bulbs accounts for more product revenue on Amazon than the entire tail. So you can imagine what those search terms would be, but then, the entire tail of 50 watt light bulb, 60 watt light bulb, what have you. All of that tail put together is less significant than the 3 top keywords for light bulb. So that's why you want to gain as much reach as possible out of those top keywords, because there's just so much volume there. And then take an always on strategy. Don't be flipping campaigns on and off if at all possible. This is going to give you the best efficiency. Amazon does use on sponsored products a 30-day look back. And so having an always on strategy is going to give you the best performance. All right, so now let's talk about value destructive events and other wastes of time and energy. What do I mean by a value destructive event? So a value destructive event is any event that is going to begin to degrade the value of that ASIN by slowing the flywheel down, because it has taken us so much effort and investment to spin that flywheel up that if that product suddenly goes out of stock and is search suppressed and is now getting less clicks and conversions, it is going to start slowing down and just literally spinning off money that you have invested and time you have invested in building up the inertia behind that ASIN. Similarly, poor reviews, that is going to be a value destructive event. Or taking the foot off the gas with Amazon PPC. That is why we recommend having an always on strategy. So we always want to ensure that we are trying to avoid any of these major value destructive events, because that single ASIN really isn't an investment and an annuity that we need to protect. So let's talk about some things that are, for the most part, kind of big wastes of time, things that many sellers spend too much time on that really don't matter. So one is title gaming. You see a lot of Amazon sellers gaming their titles, trying to get creative with the title of their ASIN with the hopes of getting some sort of SEO goodness from that title gaming. But what you don't take into account oftentimes with that is that you are providing the customer a worse customer experience and frankly just making your ASIN look shady. And so it's much less likely that a customer is going to click and convert on your ASIN when it's got some crazy looking title. There's a lot of uncertainty as well about what does and does not matter with respect to Amazon search. And so I want to go through some elements that do not influence your Amazon search ranking. So first off, punctuation. Most punctuation is totally ignored by Amazon search. So men's razors will match with men's razors with an apostrophe or hyphen or however which way you want to spell it. Common misspellings really aren't important. Amazon's search engine will automatically learn common misspellings and offer corrections. Very common words. Amazon search generally ignores very common words like the. Case does not matter. Amazon search is case insensitive, so you can go ahead and scream your search in all caps. It's really going to make no difference. A+ content. A+ content does not matter within your Amazon SEO. Google search will index A+ content, so perhaps there's some goodness if a customer is searching on Google and coming to Amazon, but it's not going to be indexed in Amazon search. Other things that do matter, images are an interesting one in that they don't matter in terms of SEO, but in certain categories, in pretty much all categories except for business, industrial, scientific, books, music, and I think automotive, you're going to be search suppressed if you don't have an image. So they aren't indexed, but they are critical to driving conversions, of course. So that has some downstream goodness to it. I want to talk briefly about variations, also once known as twisters. So unlike Google search, we're pointing to an individual product detail page. And oftentimes it's looked upon as a best practice to variate these pages together. For example, it would be a very poor customer experience for each size and color of the same model shoe to exist individually. So instead, the products are variated together as child ASINs under one parent ASIN, and only the parent will now surface within Amazon search. This decision is an obvious one for shoes and apparel, but the decision becomes a lot less obvious in other categories. For example, say there are 20 Apple iPhone ASINs of various models and storage sizes. Should they be variated together under one parent? Well, it is likely a much better customer experience to have them all variated together. But once those ASINs are variated, Apple is then going to lose 19 spots in search results and open this critical real estate above the fold to their competitors. So whereas the iPhone, when somebody came in and searched for iPhones, was showing 20 iPhones in search, now there might be 19 Samsung Galaxies and one iPhone in there. So if they variate these ASINs, it's really important that they understand the impact that's going to have on their search share of voice, and whether or not that's going to be opening up critical slots to competitive products. So it could still likely be the correct decision for a brand like Apple to decide to variate those together, but it's not always that straightforward is what I'm getting at here. And so you need to spend the time to really think critically before you just start variating products together. So let's talk a little bit about black hat tactics. Amazon can be such a confounding black box for most vendors and sellers that, as we all well know, this landscape is really fraught with services that at best are selling common sense as expertise, and at worst are just total frauds. So ideally you want to work with white hats and people who have real expertise on Amazon. I recommend avoiding anything that has the word hack in the title. I have a few valuable tricks up my sleeve, but these will really not move the needle nearly as much as nailing the basics, and many of the basics are free. One of these hacks that was quite popular for some time was super URLs. There are a few different models, but essentially these services provide Amazon vendors and sellers the promise of driving up products and search rankings by using custom-built URLs, which make it appear as though someone made a specific query and then converted on your product. Often offered by same groups of people who used to sell Amazon reviews until Amazon changed their terms of service. Amazon is much smarter than I think these services give them credit for. So Amazon checks these URLs by referencing the included Unix timestamp and search coordinates for every ASIN. So it's impossible to generate these URLs and be able to nail the Unix timestamp of the server, not the search, and also nail where your ASIN is in those search coordinates. It's really an impossible exercise because that Unix timestamp has like microseconds on it, and it's identifying exactly where in the search results the product is. Now, perhaps, driving a bunch of customers to go convert on your product is going to have some search goodness because you're driving a lot of top line conversions and sales. But I think that investment would be better spent on just running a deep promotion, giving away a promo code, or just buying a bunch of your own stuff. And in the end, it'll be way cheaper than paying for these super URL services. So that's my presentation on Amazon Search and PPC. I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you for attending, and enjoy the rest of the presentations.
All right, thank you, Connor, for sharing your experience and diving really deep into how you can utilize advertising on Amazon to spark the marketing flywheel. It's really interesting to begin understanding just how powerful Amazon's algorithm is. And by knowing how to trigger it to help grow your sales, you can achieve maximum advertising results. Now, I want to hear from you. How are you going to structure your advertising strategy? Let us know in the comments down below. And if you've gotten any value from this session, please let us know by giving this video a big thumbs up. Now, when starting on Amazon, it's easy to overlook the legal aspects of setting up your business. So make sure you join us in the next session as we cover the important steps you need to take before you actually begin selling. I'll see you there.